Good evening, and welcome to Nycos Nightly News. I'm your host, Game Master Jay, and we are going to be bringing you stories from around the world of Nycos, from the game sessions and stories that are continuing throughout the region. And tonight we're going to be starting off with the city of Abigail. As you may recall, Abigail is a city in the Farthfell region, uh, south and south and east of Tenerife, and the conflicts in that country are beginning to heat up and are causing rather difficult challenges with the countries that are neighboring it. In the case of Abigail, there have been a considerable number of clashes between the various counts. They are engaging in the Vagabond Mountain Range, and although the stories are many that are coming in, there is very little in terms of substance to them, as the forces seem to be relatively evenly matched. The one particular story note is that Count de Rigor has given ground, but has actually gained a castle to the north of Abigail. It's not known whether this was a castle that had been unoccupied for a time, and therefore this is a sort of Pyrrhic victory, or whether this is actually a move against the ancestral home of the noble family that used to rule the Farthfell. We will get you more information on that as we go along. Now, as I mentioned, the civil war in Tenerife that just kicked off has plunged many of the areas of Farthfell into doubts as to their security and even their allegiances. It has become apparent through rather acrimonious discussions between the various houses of Tenerife that have been basically outing, if you will, their connections to other countries, and Farthfell is straight in the middle of this conflict, and so there have been several accusations bandied about that threaten the security and the safety of the people of Farthfell. So this may lead out to become a larger global conflict if it's not appropriately handled within a reasonable amount of time. Now, when we talk about the Farthfell beyond the Cenobian Civil War, behind the Cenobian Civil War, there lies a greater conflict dating back to the third iteration, and our researchers are digging into what those ramifications might be. Should the houses of Tenerife, should the Mon system, if the family system should collapse, we will bring you the news on what might be coming next for Zenobia. There may actually be some substance to rumors that Zenobia had been influencing other countries, because the Coramite cavalry that was in support of Count de Rigor recently has begun a withdrawal, which seems curious given their superior firepower and known winning strategies. The fact that the Coramites have been withdrawn may portend a weakening of the families that were engaging in political influence. And so we will again have to watch for the shortcomings and outcomes of these things. Now, in the light of the Cenobian scandals, several well-positioned individuals have been removed from office, many of whom have been sent to at least initial imprisonment. And so there are many within even the city-state of Abigail who have been questioned and sequestered because of their possible involvement with the crime families of Zenobia. So probably bring you more information about that in the future. In the meantime, just realize that Tenerife, as the capital of Zenobia, has been deal brokering for quite some time and may indeed be in rather hot water for their involvement with other countries. This will be discovered as we go forward. Now, in the light of all of the military action, the official dragon hunt in Farthville has been suspended, in part for safety, because there are going to be so many people crawling those hills in the pursuit of an actual war that they may not be prepared for dragon hunters and vice versa. So they simply suspended the dragon hunt. There have been several very outspoken individuals who have threatened to continue the hunt despite this, and the Count de Monet has in particular stated that he would arrest any dragon hunter he finds in the field that is not involved in the support or protection of the counties during this period of war. Several of the eyewitnesses of Scrog have been taken into for questioning by the city leaders on the basis that the individuals of Scrog were attesting to indiscriminacies being forced on them, being forced on them by the Count's forces in an earlier engagement, and this flies in the face of the Count's dedicated position of protecting the people of the valley, and so there are questions on whether or not they also might have been compromised and paid off. So there will be more information on that. An interesting sidelight is the Lord Fauntleroy, who had been working as the attaché to Count de Monet, has actually been recalled. Many may not be aware, but Fauntleroy was actually a military aide-de-camp offered by Mercia, and he has been withdrawn and recalled back to his home country. So this will also put somewhat of a damper in Count de Monet's future endeavors. So again, we'll be keeping track of this story going forward, and if there's any additional news, we'll bring it to you. As we get ready to switch to another story, I want to thank you for your participation in this episode and to remind you that we do new material every night at 11 p.m. Pacific. And while some of them are news stories like these, there are other endeavors that we take into account as well. And we do episodes as Game Master's Soapbox or Game Master's Toolbox and that kind of thing. So alrighty, so as we move from Abigail to another city of NycosRPG and Nykos as a game, as a world, the powers that be want to thank you again for your participation in all of our broadcasts to this date. And we also suggest you take a look at our YouTube channel, which is at NycosRPG, and check out all the news stories that are going up there, because we are expanding quite a bit our coverage of stories in the world of Nykos and stories about the NycosRPG. So now let's move on to our next story, which is coming to us from, let's see, I believe it's Burglecut. Yes. So Burglecut is one of the cities in the far northeastern portion of Yarlum that is known as the City of Sights. There is an observatory, one of the first ever built to observe and consider the stellar activity, the asters, and what they might import. And there are also several vista points for overlooking the eastern Black Sea. And all in all, it's a very popular city for tourism, and its laid back attitude comes from a governance by a guild council called the Trades League. And our stories coming from that area seem to be suggesting that there are some weather changes ahead. Our key story is that the Oculus Observatory has recently reported several anomalies in their studies of the skies. The asters that only recently became visible have been observed and tracked on a daily basis, and it's been determined that there actually seems to be an anomaly. And while the details are still sketchy, it seems that one or more of the asters may be moving in relation to the others, which is a rather disturbing condition, as it may suggest that more changes are ahead, and it may actually be the very first indicator of the development of the 8th iteration mechanisms. And so there are a lot of great conversations going on the basis of these observations. We'll bring you more as the story unfolds. Now, there was today an interesting curiosity observed in the city center, a being that defied all species identification and attired in a strange foreign uniform has been observed, and it has caused a bit of curiosity and controversy. As we get more information about this, we will let you know. But the one thing is that it seemed to be portraying itself as something that had fallen from beyond the sky, whatever that means. So as we get more information on that, we'll let you know. Now, the Captain's Alliance, the confederation of ships captains that operate out of Burglecut, are creating an open call for explorers. They have determined that the time is right for a possible exploratory mission into the Eastern Sea, which itself would be rather surprising, as everyone knows that the Blackwaters are impassable, and all that awaits you if you sail away into the blackness is death. But nonetheless, this Captain's Alliance is actually calling for intrepid explorers, ship owners, and those who would support such action to meet with them at the council meeting this next month, and to actually build forward a multi-vessel exploration mission. So we'll keep you up to date on that as the time goes by as well. This may fall on the direct heels of the Trades League confirming record yields in virtually every category. The last 2 or 3 years have been very good for the food supply, material needs, and even the opportunities for tourism have increased with the completion of the Oculus Center. So all of these reasons, the city has actually reduced the taxation rate on business owners and have rescinded completely the tax on passage for those who utilize travel opportunities that bring you to Burglecut. This also a rumor, really more than an actual story, is that the snowfalls have begun to return to the Shatterhorn, and this would indeed be great news, because there has not been any white cap on the Shatterhorn Mountains in the last 100 years. And if there is even a bit of a flurry, we may be seeing a turnaround in the seemingly runaway planetary warming that had affected us over the last 300 years. So this is indeed a good news story, and should we get an opportunity to film or record the actual snowfall, we would do so. In an unassociated story, but in the same region, the Jubilethans have set their first caravanserai for the area near Anchorage, and it's brought to our attention in particular as a Jubileethan wagon has descended on the city and is performing every night in the city center. So if you get an opportunity, check out their show and go and check out the message that they are providing about the very first iterational caravanserai. At that event, they will be honoring dignitaries from Anchorage who were instrumental in providing the Jubilethans with the space for their event to be held, and as such, they are going to be receiving some awards and presentations from the Jubilethans. As we are approaching the seasons of festivals, the worshippers of Christmas have begun to gather in the region. Pardon me. This, of course, has led to several altercations with the followers of Iris, and this may lead to more conflicts in the future, and we will be, of course, endeavoring to watch that. In another story, the clock tower of Burglecut had been damaged over the last few years, and the renovation of the tower is continuing with the addition of a new clock face on the western face of the tower. So this is rather open and welcome news, as it will make the visual sightline of the city much more palatable, and really will help the tourism aspect of the city. Alrighty, we got one more story to do, and that would be farther down the south, farther down the coast to the south. The city of Canaveral has had several major issues come to light. First of all, the Mirror Council is also looking for exploration, in their case, into the southern Black Sea. And so there is consideration about whether or not this is a good thing or not, as the Mirror, of course, are the undersea dwellers who have been the most mysterious and aloof species in Nykos for the last iteration or so. In addition, the Priest Kings have begun a groundbreaking process for a new purification center just north of the city, and it will be the largest of the purification centers created on the continent. And the people of Canaveral are quite pleased, as they say that the number of new persons coming to the kingdom will be greatly increased over the next few decades by the advent of this purification center. Additionally, with the unfortunate incident concerning the Mir vessel that was on its way to Tenerife, diplomats are being launched from Canaveral to Burglecut to create a goodwill mission there. As I mentioned, the loss of the Cormorant, the vessel that had been sent with ambassadors to Tenerife, now considered lost and possibly sunk near the Tenerife waters, has caused there to be a heightened security issue and a danger of possible escalation into naval combat with the pirates of Penza. Now, additionally, the time has come in the year for the election of Canaveral officials, and there are several scandals that have come up concerning the different candidates and parties. These, of course, are quite often simply nuisance stories and such, but we will be definitely keeping an eye on them. It is important to note that the Salamore diplomat was found dead this morning in his quarters. It appears that there may have been foul play involved, and of course the Canaveral authorities are checking into it. Due to the fact that the cormorant is now officially listed as missing and possibly sunk, the nautical exercises have been suspended by the people of Canaveral, and the ships are being recalled and may be back into port as early as this next month. Now, with all of these things, it's interesting how many new dedication rituals are being announced from the Rainbow Veil Church. Iris's followers have made an effort to increase the number of established images of their advocate, their Lord, if you will, their leader, their spiritual leader, and this has, of course, caused several conflicts, including some bloodshed, and there'll be more information on that as the details arise. It is also a final story to mention that the Nihilist Order has now revealed a new process of pacification and cleansing, and they are calling this project the Om Project. For more information on that, you'll want to speak with your nearest representative of the Order of Nihilus, the White Veil. Alrighty, that will wrap up the news for this week on Nycos News Network. I am Jonathan Albin, Game Master J, and I want to thank you for viewing these. If you are interested, we are also starting a new campaign, which will be live presentations on Twitch on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. The title will be Eastern Skies, and those will be aired on Twitch and then eventually carried over to YouTube as well in the form of shortened feature shows. So thank you again for watching. If you like what you see, make sure you follow this program here on Twitch and check out the YouTube channel, and I hope to see you soon. I'm Jonathan Albin, this is Game Master J. Talk to you later. Bye.